Another house that's out on the edge of town, it was belonged to Governor Peter Early, built by him. And was known, some years later it was restored and was named Decara Hall, which is a mixture of letters creating that word from the names of the people in the family. Dutton McCommons was his first name, so that started the Decara Hall. And I was the same age and went to school with their daughter Rosalind. And she used to tell us about the ghost in the house. It was a young girl, and Rosalind said that when she would sit down to brush her hair in the mirror in her bedroom, she would look into the mirror, and in the reflection would be a young girl standing behind her. And when she would turn around, the image was gone immediately. They owned some chicken houses that were on the property there and on the farm, and she says that they would go to the chicken houses late in the afternoon to do whatever you had to do to chicken houses. And when they would come back across the yard, this young girl would be sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch. And as they would near the house, she would get up and go inside the house. And when they would get there, the chair would still be rocking, but there would literally be nobody in the house at all. And her mother says that she would often be downstairs and she would hear singing upstairs. And when she would go up to see who it was, or if it was her daughter, there was nobody there. So we had a palmist who lived in Greensboro. Madam Rogers was her name, her professional name. And Mrs. McCommon said she saw her in the grocery store one day, and she said, "Mrs. Rogers, sometimes I want you to come out to my house. We have a spirit there, and I just want to know what you see and what you feel." And she says, "Well, I'll come Sunday afternoon." So she did. Well, she said that Mrs. Rogers, she said she had never had any faith in soothsayers and palmists and such before, but she said she was fully convinced after her visit, because she said she told me things that nobody knew but my husband and myself about this ghost. And she says, "If you'll come out into the yard, Miss McCommons, I'll show you something." So she said she went out, and they walked out into the edge of the yard, and there was a big oak tree. And she said there were 2 knots on the limb on the tree. And she said, "You see those knots?" She said there was a swing in this oak tree. And this child was swinging in that swing, and she fell out of it and broke her neck. And that's who your ghost is, the ghost of a little girl.